Hello, my name is Jacob, and welcome to the sleepy cosmos. You lie back, still and weightless, as if your bed is not anchored to the floor, but floating gently in a wide, invisible ocean. You breathe in, you breathe out. Mattress, under the floor, under the earth itself, something vast and silent holds everything in place. It is not solid. It is not even truly there in the way you think of there. It does not hum, and yet it is the foundation of everything, space and time, quietly stitched together, like a slow-moving current beneath all things. You've lived your life walking across this fabric without ever quite knowing it was there. But tonight, as the world softens around you, you begin to feel it just barely, as if your awareness can brush its surface. It's not flat, this fabric. It folds and curves with the weight of stars, like a blanket pulled gently down where something heavy rests. You picture space as a kind of giant sheet stretching out in every direction. When nothing sits on it, it remains smooth and wide. But place a planet on that sheet, and the fabric dips. Place a star, and it bends deeper still. The moon circles the earth, not because it's being pulled, but because it's rolling along. That curved surface, you imagine marbles swirling around dimples in a trampoline. This is gravity, not as an invisible force pulling you down, but as the gentle slide of motion along the curved path of space. Time, space, and time. But in truth, they are woven together, inseparably, like threads in the same tapestry. Time flows forward as space stretches outward. You cannot move through one without moving through the other. Just as your body moves across the room, your seconds flow forward. You are always traveling in time, even when you lie perfectly still. Einstein gave us this image over 100 years ago. Not a fantasy, but a change in how we understand reality. He showed that the universe is not a stage upon which things happen. The stage itself can bend, stretch, and ripple. You think of a dancer moving across a floor, but now imagine that the floor moves, too, sinking slightly where she steps, lifting as she leaps. That's the world you live in. Stars, but for you. Your body, with its quiet warmth, its beating heart, and its soft weight, makes a slight imprint in this fabric. It's small, but it's there. Even now, as you lie still, the universe responds to your presence. And when you move, the fabric shifts with you effortlessly, without resistance. You glide along a path drawn by the mass of things around you. And not just in space, but in time. The heavier the thing, the slower time flows around it. Near a massive star or a black hole, clocks tick more slowly. You wouldn't feel it, too wouldn't even notice. Rhythm. So you lie here, and the thought settles in. Time is not constant. It stretches and compresses like the fabric it is part of. Like a slow breath, time can lengthen and shorten depending on where you are, how fast you're moving, how near you are to gravity's curve. It is not rigid. It is not absolute. You begin to feel it now, not time slipping away, but time as something pliable, not a clock, but a current. It flows through you, around you, carrying you forward, yes, but also moving with the shape of everything that exists. You are not separate from it. Every atom in your body ticks with its own rhythm, set by this fabric you rest upon. Even light, which seems so swift and straight, follows these curves. A beam of starlight traveling near a massive object will bend just a little, but enough. The path that seemed straight becomes an arc. It is not that light is pulled. It is that the space it travels through is no longer straight. What is light, if not time's messenger? It carries the story of distant galaxies to your eyes. It whispers from millions, even billions, of years ago, bringing not just brightness, but memory. Light and time move together always, always together, so you float, suspended in this gentle sea, beginning to sense its contours. Beneath you is not solid ground, but a field of invisible threads, space and time interwoven like silk and wind. You are wrapped in it, carried by it. Maybe it loops. Maybe, if you followed its curves long enough in the right direction, you'd find yourself back where you started, not because you reversed, but because the universe turned quietly beneath you, like walking across the surface of a sphere, always forward, never turning, and yet returning to where you began. A circle not drawn in space alone, but in the geometry of space-time itself. And this is not just a dreamy thought till something real. Physicists have wondered, modeled, calculated. Could space-time be closed upon itself? Could the beginning and the end be connected? Could the farthest reaches be touching just beyond the curve? You close your eyes and picture it, a quiet loop, vast and smooth. No edges, no ends, only continuity, only return, only softness. It comforts you, this idea that nothing is lost, only turned. That every step forward is a quiet arc through something deeper than distance. Your breath slows, your limbs grow heavy, and still the universe holds you not like a hand, but like water holds a leaf. You are not drifting alone in emptiness. You are resting on something ancient, something curved, something constant and moving all at once. And if the fabric curves, if the path bends, then where does it lead next? When even gravity begins to swirl and the cosmos itself starts to ripple, let's follow that curve a little farther into the next soft bend. But tonight, you are invited to see it differently, not as a dark emptiness, but as something fluid, soft, supple, stretching gently beneath all that exists. You are not surrounded by void. You are adrift in an invisible sea. The sea doesn't wave, but with a gentle dip, a bend, a deepening quiet. This sea is space itself, space not as distance, not as the cold between stars, but as something more alive, more willing to listen. And it listens through gravity. Tonight, your mind floats beside Einstein, who saw what others couldn't. He looked into the cosmos and realized that mass does not just sit in space, it shapes. Space isn't a passive stage. It moves with the actors. It bows to their presence. And time, its twin thread, moves with it. You picture a stretched sheet, like the fabric of a trampoline. You drop a marble onto it, and the fabric dips. Place something heavier, bowling ball, sand. The fabric stretches further still. Now roll another marble across the surface. It doesn't travel in a straight line. It curves inward, drawn not by some invisible string, but by the slope beneath it. This is what gravity truly is. Not a pull, but a path, a response to the curved landscape beneath your feet, around your body. Across the galaxies, you think of the planets circling the sun, not because they are pulled, but because they are following the curves that the sun's mass has made. They are not held by invisible hands. They are coasting along curved space, like leaves spiraling in a slow whirlpool. And time time does not flow evenly across this sea. Stand near a massive planet, or closer still to a black hole, and your seconds stretch longer than those far away. A clock at sea level ticks ever so slightly slower than one on a mountaintop. The difference is too small to feel, but real enough. To measure, it means time has curves. You are used to the idea of time as linear, a string of moments, one after the other. But here, on this sea of space-time, time flows like water over uneven ground. It pools, it stretches, it loops, perhaps, in places you cannot yet see. Even light bends when space curves. A beam of light from a distant star, when it passes near something massive, does not continue in a straight line. It arcs, ever so gently, around the invisible slope. During an eclipse, when the sun's glare is hidden, stars behind it appear slightly out of place, their light bent by the sun's presence. It is one of Einstein's most beautiful predictions, that even light, the fastest traveler in the universe, must listen to the shape of space, and that shape is sculpted by mass, by energy, by you, by everything. You begin to realize that space isn't flat and still. It rolls, it dips, it lifts, it curves around every star and planet and drifting atom. And the galaxies themselves, those vast cities of stars, not suspended randomly, but shaped by these invisible curves. They cluster, align, and move, not just because of their gravity, but because of the deeper landscape they inhabit. You imagine looking down upon it all, seeing galaxies not just as glowing dots, but as swirls caught in the folds of an invisible sea, like dust gathered in the eddies of water, like wind pushing leaves into slow spirals. Sometimes the curves become so deep that not even light can escape. These are the black holes, the sinkholes in the fabric of space-time. But tonight, we don't fall into them. We only notice how profoundly space can be shaped. And you, here, lying so still, your own body, your gentle weight, it, too, leaves the faintest imprint in this cosmic sea. Tiny, yes, but present. You matter, quite literally. You shape the fabric in your own small way. There is comfort in that. You are not apart from the universe's curves. You are part of them. You walk the bends of time every day. You dream inside the folds of space. And now you begin to wonder, if gravity curves the cosmos so gently, could it curve enough to close upon itself? What happens when a curve continues endlessly? If space bends just right, does it loop? Could a traveler, always moving forward, return to their starting place, not because they turned around, but because the path itself curved in on itself? You picture an ant walking on the surface of a balloon. From its perspective, it walks in a straight line, but in truth, it moves along a curve, and if it walks far enough, it comes back to where it began. Could the universe be like that balloon, expanding, stretching, curved, not in 2 dimensions, but in the higher dimensions of space and time? Could everything, your life, your planet, even time itself, be part of a grand, looping structure? These are not the dreams of poets alone. These are questions physicists dare to ask. Space could be flat, or open, or closed like a sphere. It could loop in ways our minds are only beginning to imagine. If space can loop, perhaps time can too. What would it mean to exist in a place where beginnings return, where ends are just soft turns in a longer path? Not a circle with sharp edges, but a spiral that loops through time. You drift in thought, not seeking answers, only feeling the shape of the question. You are not falling. You are floating gently in the curves of something deeper than gravity. And as you breathe, the stars seem to breathe with you, rising, resting, bound not by strings but by the shape of space itself, somewhere in the soft fabric of the universe. Perhaps there is a place where even light does not travel straight, but spirals, where galaxies whisper through the curves, and where you, too, might one day wander. And as your body relaxes deeper into sleep, one question remains, quiet but clear. If time bends like space, what happens to the clock inside you? The rhythm you carry, the ticking heart of your own gravity. There is a quiet clock inside you. You may not hear it, but you feel its steady, rhythmic, soft. It is your heart. It keeps the time of your life. Each beat is a tiny whisper of now, 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 now. A slow and faithful metronome, counting seconds, not just in numbers, but in presence. You are here. You are still. You are passing gently through the stream of time. But what is time, really? You grow up thinking of it as a ruler. Tick, tick, tick. A straight path marked with moments. Yet, as you lie still and listen closely, you begin to feel it's not so simple. Time bends, time slows, time stretches in places you cannot touch, but that touch you. Imagine standing near a mountain. At the summit, a clock ticks a little faster than one at the base. Why? Because gravity is weaker higher up, and where gravity weakens, time flows more freely. Not in a way you would feel as you breathe the thin air, but in a way the universe knows. Clocks do not lie, and clocks can drift now. Imagine astronauts in orbit, circling Earth swiftly. They are moving fast, slicing through space. And again, time shifts, this time not from gravity, but from speed. Fast motion slows time down. It's not just a story. It's measurable, predictable, tested. When the astronauts return home, they are ever so slightly younger than they would have been had they stayed on Earth. Their hearts beat just a few fewer beats. Their cells aged just a bit less. Their clocks ran just a little slower. Time is not a background. It's a participant. It listens to your motion. It listens to your gravity. It reshapes itself accordingly, and your body, even as you sleep, is bound to these rhythms. Your chest rises and falls. Your blood flows. Your neurons pulse with memory and thought. All of it moving through time. But what time? You carry a clock within you. Not just your heart, but your whole being. Your body is its own kind of observatory, its own keeper of time. Every cell, every chemical reaction, every cycle of sleep and waking is timed not by a universal clock, but by the local landscape of your own life. Think of time not as one river, but as countless tributaries, each one shaped by gravity, by movement, by proximity to mass. And your body sails its own stream. If you were to climb high enough, or fall far enough, if you moved fast enough, or slowed down entirely, you would feel it not in your skin, but in the clock you carry inside. The ticking would change, the beat would shift, but here's the gentle miracle. You'd never notice. To you, time always feels the same. Your seconds are always yours, even as others move differently, even as other clocks tick at slightly different rates. You live inside your own present. So what is now? Is it the same for the astronaut in orbit, for someone dreaming on a mountaintop, for a beam of light passing a black hole? Maybe now is not a single note, but a harmony, many moments, all playing their part, woven into a shared experience we call the present. And this harmony is fragile, beautiful. It allows for the world to hold together, even as each piece of it follows its own path through time. You rest in your bed, and yet you drift, not in space, but in this field of time, which bends softly around you, molded by Earth's gravity, shaped by your breathing, your thoughts, your presence as you listen to your own heart. You listen also to the way time moves through you, like wind through tall grass, shaped, altered, never truly still. There's a name for the idea that time flows differently in different places, time dilation. But that word, with its sharp syllables, hides how gentle it really is. Time does not snap or break. It expands. It yields, like cloth being pulled, ever so slightly, by something heavier on one side. And if the fabric of space-time can stretch and fold, perhaps time is not a line at all. Perhaps it loops, like the breath you inhale now and release again. Perhaps the rhythm in your chest is not counting forward, but around. Your body, after all, lives in cycles, day and night, waking and sleep, a heartbeat, a breath, a thought returning, and maybe, just maybe, time follows the same kind of loop. You lie here now, warm beneath the quiet night, wrapped in a world of slow motion and curved moments. Your body is your clock, your guide, your measure, and all the while the universe leans in, listening, adjusting, allowing each beat of your heart to mark a unique moment in a uniquely curved path. So what happens? You wonder, when even light faster than anything gets caught in a curve too deep to escape. What does time do there? What happens to a clock when gravity is so strong that even time itself seems to freeze? Breathe softly now, because next we turn to the light. You have always imagined light as something straight. It moves with purpose, without pause, without turning back. You flick a switch, and light answers instantly, filling the room. You look up at stars, and their light travels straight into your eyes, across impossible distances, unchanged by the years. But tonight, as you lie still, you are invited to imagine light differently, not as a straight arrow, but as something that can bend, that can curve, circle, even loop. A quiet traveler that doesn't always reach a destination, but sometimes becomes caught in the journey itself. Light is the universe's swiftest messenger. It travels at nearly 300,000 kilometers each second. It is the fastest thing there is, and yet, even light must obey the curves of space and time. You already know that gravity bends the path of things, and light, though weightless, still follows. The fabric, it doesn't fall, not in the way you do, but it arcs, gracefully, delicately, like a ribbon caught in a gentle breeze. Picture a star behind the sun during a solar eclipse. When the sun is briefly veiled, we see that stars light, not in its true position, but slightly shifted, nudged by the gravity of the sun. That light has curved just a little as it passed through the sun's deep gravitational dip. It is as if the sun became a lens, and the sky a gallery of illusions. And this illusion is real. We can measure it. Einstein predicted it. The universe confirmed it. But some curves go deeper than others, and some dips in the fabric become wells, and some wells become traps. Black holes are the deepest of these wells, regions of space where gravity pulls so hard that nothing, not even light, can climb back out. They are not holes in the traditional sense. They are places where space folds in so tightly and time stretches so long that the path of light becomes endlessly curved. Close to a black hole, light doesn't escape in straight lines. It loops, it spirals. It may orbit the black hole, circling it like a moth around a flame, forever caught, forever moving, but never departing. This delicate path is called the photon sphere, a ring where light can, in theory, circle endlessly. You imagine it now, a beam of light, neither falling in nor flying away, locked in an eternal round, traveling always forward, but ending up where it began, having made its long, curved journey around the loop of the universe. It is not fantasy. It is one of the possibilities. If the universe is closed curved, like the surface of a sphere, then light, if given enough time, could come full circle. You picture standing on a hill, shining a flashlight toward the stars, and then, in some far-off future, seeing your own beam return. Time would have passed. The stars would have changed. You might be gone. But the light would keep going, looping through the curvature of all things. And even if the loop never completes, light still bends, still arcs. Galaxies act as lenses, too, not made of glass, but of mass. Their gravitational pull can stretch light from behind them, magnify it, distort it, duplicate it. You may have seen this. Images of distant galaxies shaped like rings or arcs. These are not tricks. They are echoes. They are loops of light, curved by cosmic lenses. These strange rings are called Einstein rings, not named in arrogance, but in honor. They are real, and they are silent proof that the universe curves and whispers. You begin to sense that light is not a line. It is a dancer, responding to the contours of space. It doesn't resist the curves. It flows with them. Even within your eyes, light enters and bends through the lens of your cornea, focused gently onto the back of your mind. You are built to receive curves, and perhaps, deep down, you are made to follow them. To now, a quieter question begins to stir. If light can orbit forever, if it can loop, what happens to time within that loop? A beam of light, stuck in orbit, experiences no time. For light, time does not tick. Its journey, no matter how far, feels instantaneous, as if everything it touches exists in one eternal now. So what is it like, then, to move in a circle where time stands still? And if light is caught, but time does not pass, what does that mean for memory, for sequence, for cause and effect? You let your mind drift, wondering if there are echoes of light that have circled back again, whispers from the past that arrive as fresh as new light. Could the light you see be older than the stars themselves? Could it be moving in patterns you cannot yet perceive? And if gravity can shape light, could it shape you, too, into a loop? Could memory, thought, even awareness be caught in gentle spirals, repeating not because of failure, but because of rhythm? In your dreams, you've returned to the same places, the same feelings, over and over, not because you're stuck, but because the path leads back again, as it was meant to. Maybe the universe works this way, too. Maybe light doesn't only reveal where things are, but how they move, not just in space, but in time. So tonight, you rest in a world where light curves, where beams become loops, where nothing truly goes straight forever. And as your breath softens, you wonder what else might follow these spirals, what other paths might twist gently around the edges of what you know. And somewhere, just beyond sleep, a new shape begins to form, a strip with only one side twisting softly into a question. Take a breath, let it fill you gently. And now, in your mind, pick up a strip of paper, smooth, flat, plain. Now give it a single twist, just one. Then join the ends together. It seems like a loop, but it's stranger than that. You trace a finger along the surface, expecting to stay on one side, but you don't. You return to where you began, not on the other side, but on the same one. This is a Mobius strip, one surface, one edge, a loop that holds a quiet paradox. You walk, and yet you never cross over. There is no inside, no outside, only continuity. Tonight, you walk that path not with feet, but with thought. You imagine yourself tiny, placed gently on this strip. You begin walking. It feels like a simple journey, but over time, something strange happens. You find yourself where you began, without ever making a turn. This isn't a trick, it's geometry, but it feels like magic. Now imagine time like that strip, not linear, not two-sided, but looped with a twist, so that moving forward leads you, quietly, back to your origin. Not by reversal, but by return. In our ordinary days, time seems to flow outward. One direction, one arrow. But what if it's more complex than that? What if time has this Mobius quality, a twist we cannot see from inside the journey? You sleep, you wake, you grow, you change, yet there are rhythms in your life that repeat, patterns, memories, feelings that circle back. You say, this feels familiar. Déjà vu, cycles, moments echoing through the years. You're not going backward, you're not standing still. You are looping with a twist, the path always fresh, yet strangely known. Scientists have explored the possibility of time as more than a line. Some see it as a loop, others see it as branching, like trees. But a Mobius strip, that would mean time is continuous, but with a built-in reversal hidden in its structure. On a Mobius strip, orientation flips. What was once left becomes right. What was up is now down. Could that mean cause and effect trade places somewhere on the loop? You pause on the path, not confused, only curious. You wonder, if time is Mobius-shaped, what would it mean for beginnings and endings? Would a beginning still mean something if it leads and broken into its own end? And what about memory? Would we recall the future as faintly as we recall the past? Would we know a moment before it happens, not by foresight, but because we have walked this path before? Maybe time doesn't move like a train on tracks, but like a bead sliding on a twisted ribbon, never lifting, never skipping, just gliding along the shape laid out beneath it. And if time bends this way, then perhaps our lives are not lines either. Perhaps we are Mobius shapes, ourselves made of cycles, echoes, mirrored joys and mirrored sorrows. A moment of grief, repeating in peace. A moment of love, returning unexpectedly. Even your breath is a loop, in, out, a pattern without end. A ribbon that twists without ever breaking. And sleep, too, is a loop. You descend, you dream, you rise again. You follow the same shape night after night. Not the same dreams, but the same journey. So much of nature follows loops, seasons, moon phases, heartbeats, the life of a born, bright, fading, reborn in another form, the orbit of planets, the spiral of galaxies. What if time is simply another loop, but with one elegant twist? This thought is not meant to trouble you. It is not a puzzle to solve tonight. It is a path to walk slowly, calmly, like the Mobius traveler. You do not need to see the whole shape. You only need to take the next quiet step, and as you do, you feel something soften. The pressure to understand lifts. You don't need to hold all of time in your hands. You only need to rest in its rhythm. In a Mobius world, you do not lose what has passed. It returns, not unchanged, but familiar, not identical, but shaped by the twist. And you are shaped by it too. Your thoughts turn gently now toward the sky, where loops live on greater scales, where galaxies spin in wide arcs, where echoes from the beginning still hum in the background. You wonder, just for a moment, if the universe itself remembers, if light and space and time carry echoes, not only of what once was, but of what always returns. You walk on, and somewhere, just ahead, you begin to hear a soft sound, a hum that may not be coming from outside at all. Perhaps it is the echo of something ancient, and perhaps it is the universe remembering itself. You lie still, quiet, your breath soft. Around you, the world fades to gentle dark. There is no rush now, only stillness, only the slow unfolding of a question. In this dark, you listen, not with ears, but with something deeper, an inward kind of listening. Because space, as empty as it seems, is not truly silent. It hums, not with music as we know it, but with something older, fainter, more ancient than any song sung by human voice. This is the sound of the cosmos remembering itself. A low, steady whisper, the afterglow of something that once was everything, long ago, before galaxies had gathered, before stars had sparked. The universe was heat and light and motion. It was thick, not with objects, but with energy. A radiant, expanding fire. Then, slowly, so slowly, it cooled. Particles formed. Atoms gathered. Light began to move freely, released from its dense, early prison. And that light, that first freedom, still travels. It stretches across the heavens in all directions, a quiet sea of warmth. This is the cosmic microwave background, a name that sounds technical, but it is nothing more than a memory, a baby picture of the universe, still glowing. After billions of years, tonight you float in that glow. Your body, your breath, bathed in the faint warmth of a long-ago moment. It touches your skin, though you do not feel it. It slips through you, though you do not notice. But like all gentle things, it asks for stillness, for listening. You imagine. It nows this soft light everywhere, stretching beyond sight, past stars, past planets, into the cold, open folds of time. And yet, you wonder if this is a whisper from the past. Could there be echoes from the future, too? You have felt it before. How sound can loop, stand between mountains, call out, and your own voice returns. Not because time reversed, but because the world itself curved the sound back to you. Space can do that too. Gravity bends light, bends time, bends sound. Mass warps the cosmos like a heavy stone resting on a soft sheet. And just as the sheet curves, so do the paths of the thing. Maybe they're reflections, circling, returning. Maybe the hum is not just a past sound. Maybe it's a chorus always playing, and we are simply listening from one point along the curve. You breathe in and picture the waves, not ocean waves, but waves of energy, softly rising and falling, each one a syllable in the universe's earliest sentence. They ripple out across the cosmos, passing through galaxies, through clouds, through your bones, and into your dreams. Some of these waves were set in motion before Earth was even a thought, before stars twinkled, before time wore the familiar shape it does now, and yet they still arrive, precise, steady, unbroken. Scientists have captured them, not with nets, but with great dishes turned to the sky. Their instruments translate heat into sound, and what they hear is astonishing. A soft static, a pattern of warmth, a nearly perfect uniformity, but not quite. Tiny fluctuations pepper the glow. Small differences in temperature, like ripples on an otherwise still pond. And it is from these imperfections, these tiny bumps, that everything we know has formed. Every star, every tree, every thought. You are, in a way, a ripple in an echo. The structure of your bones, the music of your mind, all of it seated in the uneven warmth of a universe just learning how to breathe. And now you listen, not only with your ears, but with your whole being. This hum is not loud. It does not shout. It only waits, patient as dust drifting through moonlight. You wonder again, if these are echoes from the past, what would it mean to hear something from the future? What would an echo from tomorrow sound like? Maybe it would feel like a tug, a familiar thought you haven't had yet, a melody you know but haven't heard, a decision made by a future version of you that still somehow touches your present breath. The echo of before is all around you. But perhaps there is also the echo of what comes next. Time, after all, is not a line. We have seen that it bends, that it stretches, that it loops, and light, that faithful traveler, carries stories not just from long ago, but from around unseen corners of time and space. Some of the starlight reaching your eyes tonight left its home before your species existed, and yet here it is, caught by your vision, welcomed into your quiet room. It has waited for you, traveled to greet you, to be noticed just for a moment before vanishing again. And somewhere out there, your own echo might still be traveling. Light reflected off your face, energy spilled from your words, ripples in the gravity of now. You are part of this great pattern, not outside of it, not watching from a distance. You are the echo and the source, the ripple and the stone, the voice and the silence. And if the universe loops, if time folds into itself like a great Mobius ribbon, then everything returns. The hum of creation, the light of stars, the rhythm of thought, all things come round again, not exactly the same, but singing the same melody. You feel that hum now, not with your ears, but with your bones. It is steady, gentle, endless, and as you rest within it, your thoughts drift, not backward now, but sideways, toward a mystery folded deeper within the loops. A question rises, soft as mist. If echoes can return, what about the paths we choose to walk? What if free will, like light, travels its own curved road? You lie still, wrapped in softness. Your breath is a tide, steady and slow. The room around you fades to dimness, and above that dimness stretches something vast, something ancient and without edge. Tonight you drift not through dreams, but through space, not the kind behind walls or outside windows, but the space that holds everything, every star, every breath, every quiet question. You've always pictured space as a kind of stage, a backdrop with stars like scattered gems, a black expanse that stretches out, until, perhaps, it just ends a ledge, an edge, a place where the stars stop, and beyond it, what? Nothing. It's a natural thought. We live in a world with borders, walls, fences, coastlines, mountain ridges. Even the sky itself feels like a lid sometimes, especially when clouds curl low like a ceiling. Edges make things feel real, containable, safe. But what if the universe has no edge? Not just endless in size, but looped, boundless, yet finite. Not stretching forever in a line, but folding gently into itself like a whispered circle. You begin to imagine it now, not as a box expanding in all directions, but as something smoother, curved like the surface of a balloon, or the bend of a horizon seen from high above. Picture an ant walking along a perfect globe. It travels in one direction, never turning, never stopping, and eventually it returns to where it began. It never found a wall, yet it made a full journey. That's what a universe without edge could be, a kind of cosmic loop, a great, gentle shape that curves space back on itself. You float through this thought, weightless and calm, in 3 dimensions. Such a space is hard to see. You can't fold it in your hands or walk its perimeter. But in mathematics and in physics, such shapes live and breathe. A torus, a hypersphere, a universe that curves not in the ways your eyes can follow, but in the secret ways of geometry itself. Astronomers have asked for generations, does our universe go on forever? Or does it repeat? Does it fold? The light from the oldest stars carries clues, patterns in the cosmic microwave background. That soft whisper from the beginning of time might hint at repetition, at symmetry, at something closed. Imagine traveling through space in a straight line, faster than light, past galaxies, past nebulae, past silence. If space loops, you'd eventually arrive at your starting point, not by turning, but by journeying forward through a universe that holds you in a great circle. You've never fallen off the earth because Earth is round. What if you've never fallen off the universe for the same quiet reason? It comforts, you thought. No edge, no danger of falling, just eternal return. A loop where forward eventually becomes home. You float now, in your imagination, as though inside this curved cosmos there is no north, no south, no up or down. Only gentle, continuous motion, like drifting through warm water in the dark. And yet, even here, questions stir softly. If there's no edge, is there a center? You look around in your mind and realize, no, there is no center either. Not in a sphere, not in a loop. Every point is equally here. Everywhere is home. This isn't just a shape, it's a way of being. A universe without edges or centers is a universe where location is relative, where itself becomes a poem, not a point. You are not near the edge of anything. You are the center of your own coordinates, and so is everyone else. Perhaps that's what it truly means to belong to the universe. not to be placed upon it, but within it, part of the fold, woven into the curve. You breathe more slowly now. The thought wraps around you like a soft shawl. Even the galaxies obey this shape. They cluster along invisible strands, cosmic filaments that stretch across space like the threads of a spider's web, shimmering and faint. Between those strands lie vast voids, dark regions where few stars live. But even those empty pockets are part of the whole. Nothing is left out. Nothing lies beyond. Everything exists within the loop. Even time, you begin to realize, might follow the same path. The past and future may not be two separate ends, but two directions on a circular road. If space curves, can time curve too? You drift inside that question. You do not rush to answer. Instead, you float, watching the idea pass like a star overhead. You begin to sense that boundaries are illusions. Edges are for maps, not for reality. And when scientists peer far enough, when their instruments stretch vision to the limit, they find nothing like a wall. No hard line where galaxies end. Just more darkness, more light, more wonder. The known universe is expanding, yes. Galaxies pulling apart like dots on a stretching balloon. But even this motion has a softness to it. It's not an explosion, not a shatter. It's a quiet blooming, a slow unfolding that might never need an edge to stop it. And if it all loops, if the balloon is a sphere in more than space, but also in time, then perhaps the end is only another beginning. You might be traveling this curved road even now, not in distance, but in being. Your thoughts return, circling softly, finding comfort in the familiar, yet changed each time they pass through, like walking a Mobius strip in your dreams. No edge, no final stop, just the quiet rhythm of return. And maybe that's all the universe asks of you, to keep moving, gently, curiously, through a cosmos that holds no sharpness. You sink deeper now. The stars blur softly in your mind. The loop is complete, yet somehow still opening. And as you drift in this gentle, infinite space, another question forms, not about the shape of space, but about the choices we make inside it. If all space is connected, if every step returns, what becomes of the paths you choose to walk? You lie still, breath rising like tides, and tonight you feel time differently, not ticking, not marching, but flowing like light through shifting water. This is your time, after all, the only one you know. It moves with your heart, your thoughts, your memories pressed like fingerprints against the glass of now. But your time isn't the same as mine or anyone else's. And in the quiet hush of the universe, that difference so slight, so strange, begins to matter. You're drifting now, slowly, softly, into the thought that time is not a river shared, but a stream that curves differently for every traveler. Einstein showed us this. It dances to the rhythm of motion and gravity. Fast things feel time slow. Heavy things pull time inward, like warm hands curling a sheet. Imagine two twins. One stays on Earth, the other sails into space, near the speed of light, around a distant star. They wave goodbye. One waits, one races. Years pass, decades, but when they meet again, the traveler has aged less. A wrinkleless face greets an older smile. The same birth, but different durations. Their time has split, and yet they are still twins, still bound, still sharing a history. You pause here, let it sink in. For each instrument, even your heartbeat, isn't universal. Each cell in your body keeps its own time. Every heartbeat measures your moment. Song. Time is local. Time is shaped and still. It holds everything together. The more you sit with this, the more it softens something rigid in you. You realize maybe you don't need to rush. Maybe others aren't behind or ahead. Maybe they're just somewhere else on another rhythm, in another now. And what if now itself isn't fixed? When you gaze into the night sky, you see stars as they were, not as they are. Light from distant galaxies takes billions of years to reach you. So when you look up, you're really looking back into a past that is still unfolding. You exist inside a collage of time. Futures still unwritten, pasts still arriving, and so do others. All of us living in our own slices of the universe, our own present stretched across light years. But what happens if time loops? You imagine it now. Path for time. If you lived in such a loop, you might find yourself again. Not a memory, but a version of you walking the path once more. Would you be the same? Would you choose the same things? Would you fall in love with the same stars? And if time repeats, if everything returns, what happens to choice? These are questions that shimmer like stars in fog. They don't need answers tonight. They only ask to be held gently. You think of how you were a year ago, 10 years ago. You are still that person. And not the past you is here in your bones, your breath, your habits. But you have changed in choices, in moments, in tiny decisions that added up to who you are right now. Time moves differently for people, but it also moves differently within. People. You are not static. You are not still. You are unfolding slowly, like petals under moonlight. And so is everyone else. Even the stars live different lengths of time. Some are short-lived flares, bright and fast, and gone in cosmic minutes. Others burn slow for billions of years, watching galaxies rise and fall. But all are real. All are valid. Each moves through time at its own pace. So maybe your time isn't less than another's. It's just yours. Soft, strange, beautiful, measured in laughs, in tears, in the warmth of hands held. And even if time bends, even if it loops, that doesn't erase you. You are still here, right now. A note in the music of it all. If time is a spiral, maybe you return, not in repetition, but in growth. A circle that widens, a pattern that deepens. So tonight, as you lie still, let yourself feel that spiral. You are shaping it in every choice, every kindness, every breath, and somewhere, far away, someone else is doing the same. Their time might be slower, or faster, or running backward, from your point of view, but they are real too. Another flicker in the fabric. Maybe this is what time truly is. Not a ticking clock, but a shared song, played on different instruments, at different tempos, in a cosmic harmony that only grows as the universe expands. You feel it now, the connection to all who live in time, to all who ever lived, to all who might live again. You drift in this rhythm, not lost, not late, but held. And as your thoughts soften into quiet, another question rises, gentle, curious, kind. If time is shaped by motion and mass, what happens when time meets memory? When the mind becomes a mirror for all that has been and all that might be. Close your eyes. You feel the warmth of your breath, the beat of your heart. You are here, alive, present in a body that is always changing, every cell, every moment, whispering, you are alive. For now, tonight, we turn gently toward endings, but not with fear. May not be an ending at all, but a turning. Above you, in the velvet dark of space, stars are dying, some gently, like lanterns, dimming, some violently, like shouts, echoing into silence. And yet, in the very place where a star ends, something new begins. Supernova those, bright, bursting deaths, scatter their elements far and wide. Carbon, oxygen, iron, the ingredients of planets, of oceans, of lungs, of you. You are, in a very quiet, very real way, made from the ashes of dying stars. So is death. Is it a return or a transformation? You might picture time as a circle, but maybe it's not a perfect ring. Maybe it's a spiral repeating, yes, but never quite the same way, twice. Stars collapse, new stars rise, planets cool, life stirs again. It happens over billions of years. But the rhythm remains. Death feeds life. An ending folds inward and becomes a beginning. And you, lying here in the softness of now, are part of that rhythm. A small, fleeting note in a song that has played for eons and will keep playing long after you. There is something beautiful in that. You are not separate from the cosmos, breathing in what a tree once breathed out, exhaling what a future leaf may need. Inhale, exhale. This, too, is a cycle. And now, gently, let's turn inward, into the loops that live in your own mind. Memory is not linear. You've noticed this. You remember things not in order, but by feeling, by smell, by sound. You walk past a bakery and suddenly, you hear a song and the ache returns, not just the thought, but the emotion, as vivid as the first time. Your brain doesn't file time like a bookshelf. It spirals, it loops it. Thoughts return, retrace, rebuild themselves. Neuroscientists have seen it. Memories form as patterns of neurons, echoing paths, lighting up over and over again, looping through the circuitry of self. So when you remember someone, are they gone? Or are they looping to their presence, flickering in your mind's universe, as real to you as any star? Maybe goodbye is never the final word. Maybe it's a pause in a song you will hear again. After all, even the universe may remember itself. Some physicists wonder if the cosmos loops not just in space, but in time. If the Big Bang was not the beginning, but a bounce, the rebound of a universe collapsing inward and blooming outward again. This idea is called a cyclic universe. Over unimaginable stretches of time, it expands, cools, contracts, and begins again. No edge, no final end. Just breathing, like your breath. Inhale, exhale. The universe, it seems, may also have a pulse. And in that pulse, some wonder could we return. Not exactly as before. Maybe your thoughts, your story, will echo as poems in a future mind. Is that reincarnation? Not in the mystical sense, but in the physical, scientific poetry of recurrence, of stardust reassembling itself again and again into something that feels. In that view, nothing is ever truly lost. Energy cannot be destroyed. It only changes form. So what of you? The you that thinks, the you that dreams, can thought leave a mark? Maybe it already has. In those you've touched, in choices you've made, In the warmth you've offered, you are a loop inside other loops, woven through time with threads of light and memory. Even when you're gone, your gravity lingers. The way a planet tugs on space, even if unseen. So maybe death is not darkness, not absence, but a doorway into another curve. The stars teach us this, the black holes whisper it. The trees, when they drop their leaves and wait quietly through winter, they know it. Sleep is a small death, and you wake again. Night is a kind of forgetting, and morning a remembering. This chapter may end, but the story doesn't. It loops always. So when you think of those you've lost, know they might still be here, woven into your breath, your choices, your dreams. And when you think of your own path, past, present, future, imagine it not as a line, but as a spiral staircase. You climb, but sometimes you pass the same window again, and it looks different, because you are different. Every turn. As your breath slows, you wonder quietly if memory is a loop inside the mind. Could the mind be a loop inside the stars? The stars seem to wait with you motionless, timeless as if holding their breath to. You've walked far, drifted through light and shadow, curved through thought and silence, and now you are here. Not at the end, not at the beginning, but somewhere both. With no gardener, they spiral, not because they must, but because that is how beauty moves in space. And as they spin, but perhaps it is not about arriving. Perhaps it only ever meant to return. Time, the patient river, does not always flow straight. It can curl like smoke, circle like thought, loop like memory. The laws of physics, those quiet rules that hold the cosmos in balance, do not forbid time from looping. They whisper no protest if the universe decides to close in on itself. The equations allow it. The mathematics tolerates it. Some scientists quietly even hope for it. And you, lying here, eyes closed beneath a dome of stars, can imagine it too. You imagine time not as a line, but as a ring so vast that no edge can be seen. In this ring, every moment is both ahead and behind. The future is just the past returning in disguise. The present is the meeting point of what was and what will be, softly touching, like hands in the dark. If you followed this ring long enough, if you lived through the cycle again, what would you find? Would you be you? Would your choices be the same? Or would you begin the same but change in the turning? The ancient myths spoke of this, of time as a serpent swallowing its tail, of life as a wheel, of death as a door. And now physics seems to echo their whispers. Cosmologists explore theories where the Big Bang is not a beginning but a bounce, where time before time curves back and feeds the next unfolding. A cosmic heartbeat, expansion, collapse, expansion again, you might ask. But what collapses? What begins? It starts with everything and nothing. In one such idea, the Big Crunch ends our expanding universe. Galaxies slow, then fall inward, drawn not by chaos, but by symmetry. Like a breath exhaled, then gently pulled back in, when all the matter of the cosmos comes together again, crushed to a point. An echo of the beginning yet does not end. Instead, it turns. Inside the collapse, new space is born, fused in suns long gone. Even your dreams might be older than you know, ripples of thought that once echoed in other cycles, other selves, now returned. And if this looping is true, then so is this. You may live again, not as memory, not as story, but as motion, as possibility, as pattern repeating. The version of you now, listening and drifting, is part of the pattern. But it's not just time that loops. Physics suggests even space might loop as well. Picture a video game world that wraps a round walk far enough in one direction, and you return from the other side. Now stretch this into 3 dimensions. Now stretch that into 4. That's the kind of universe we may inhabit. It feels impossible, but the math smiles softly and says, not impossible, just curved. Some shapes allow this: a torus, a sphere, a Mobius strip. You've walked these shapes in earlier dreams, earlier chapters, and now you see them all at once. The Mobius path of time, the looping of light, the symmetry of black holes. They all converge here in the whisper of a closed cosmos. A looped universe has no beginning to point to, no edge to fear. You move forward forever, and yet always return. Not because nothing changes, but because everything does. Again and again. Everything is never truly lost. The warmth you gave, the people you held, the quiet things you never said aloud, they all leave a mark in the pattern. And if the pattern repeats, those moments live again, not in memory, but in recreation. You do not need to believe this, but it is enough to wonder, to feel the shape of such an idea curl gently around your heart. Some say, we might never know, trapped as we are inside the loop we seek to measure. But you feel it, don't you? The way the stars pulse like breath, the way the seasons return, the way stories end. Comfort lives in returning. You are a note in an eternal song. And as the final echoes of this thought fade, one last image arrives, a quiet spark in darkness. Then another dot, then a warm wind, then the hum of space swelling with light, then the cosmos unfolding once more from its first breath, a new beginning or the same one again. You float in that question now, held, calm, drifting toward. What dreams may bloom when loops dissolve into stillness? You drift now, further than before. The stars no longer look scattered. They seem placed, intentional, like someone arranged them gently with a quiet breath, curling them into spirals that unwind through dark space. A galaxy spins beside you. Its arms reach out like slow waves, folding through millions of years. It is not in a hurry. It doesn't need to be. Bones, a pattern older than language. Something inside you echoes it. Because the spiral is not just out there, it is in you, too. The hairs on a sunflower, the curve of a hurricane, the shell of a nautilus, the swirl of galaxies, the twist of DNA, all are spirals, repeating, curling, carrying memory across distance. And time, even your thoughts, when you close your eyes and let them wander, seem to move this way. You think of someone, and that thought leads to a memory, and that memory spirals into another, until you find yourself back where you started, only deeper, slower, changed. This is how galaxies move, how time folds, how dreams return in nature. The spiral appears again and again. It is not just beautiful, it is efficient. A spiral grows without changing its shape. A galaxy can contain hundreds of billions of stars, yet still hold the same spiral arms it had when it was young. A shell can grow from the size of a grain to the size of a hand, and still follow the same curve. the shape holds. The spiral is a form of memory, and maybe your thoughts, too, are shaped by this form. Perhaps the mind is not a straight path, but a spiral staircase, each step returning close to where it was before, but a little higher or deeper, a little more aware. You float through this idea as stars drift by. Why does the universe love spirals so much? It begins with gravity. Gravity pulls, but not straight in. The spiral is not a thing the galaxy built, the mark it leaves as it moves. Spirals are history, written in motion, and perhaps thought is like that too. You do not choose to spiral. It happens as you move. Your memories, your feelings, your questions, they drift outward, then curve back. In dreams, in wonder, in grief, in love. Spirals of the heart, spirals of the mind. You feel close to something you can't name. Look closer. Even the structure of your brain is folded. The cortex, where thought lives, is not smooth, but curled. The folds allow more thought in less space. It uses in you. You are not separate from the cosmos. You are its echo, curled inward. Could see your own DNA stretched out, it would twist in a double helix, a spiral of life itself. And when a storm brews on earth, it spirals across land and sea, gathering force. Spirals bring creation and destruction. They concentrate energy. They spread beauty. There is something hypnotic about them, isn't there? You remember stirring a cup of tea and watching the leaves gather in a soft spiral at the bottom. You remember looking into someone's eyes and seeing time. It continues as far as you let it. Each curve is a continuation, a repetition with variation, like music, like waves, like thought. So tonight, you let yourself spiral, not in worry. You trace each chapter like a curl of a conch shell. Time, light, loops, identity, all spinning inward, inward, into this moment now. And still, there is further to go. Some scientists wonder, is the universe itself a spiral? Not just the galaxies, but space-time itself. Could all of creation be twisting, slowly, in dimensions we can't quite see? If so, then the spiral is not just a shape, it's a law, a rhythm, a deep language that the cosmos speaks. And somehow, you understand it, not in words, but in knowing, in the way your thoughts loop around old questions, in the way your life curves back to things you thought you had left behind, memories, people, places, feelings that echo back like distant stars returning in new light. This spiral is not a trap. It is a path. Each return brings something new. Each loop is a learning. And though you may circle back, you are never quite the same. Even the earth moves in a spiral, not just around the sun, but through the galaxy. The sun moves, dragging planets behind it, creating long corkscrew paths through space. You are on that spiral now, riding it, spinning through starlight at unimaginable speed, yet all you feel is stillness. There is peace in that. There is trust, so you breathe again slowly and feel your thoughts continue to turn, not racing, not frantic, just moving in soft, curved lines, like mist over water, like sleep approaching. You imagine what it might feel like to think a thought that never ends, a thought that spirals forever, growing more subtle, more beautiful, more whole with every loop. Could the universe be thinking you? Could this spiral be the cosmos, dreaming of itself? You rest inside that thought now, curled like a fern, nested like a galaxy dot, safe inside the rhythm. and just as one spiral tightens inward, another begins to expand. Something new stirs at the edge of awareness. A new question just beginning to curve toward you. What happens when the spiral opens? Where does the pattern lead next? You begin tonight in stillness. The world has quieted, the day folded away like paper. And now, here in the soft hush of night, you let yourself shrink smaller and smaller and smaller until the vastness of space gives way to something more delicate, the flicker of a single particle, born from nothing, disappearing into nothing again. You're floating in the subatomic realm now, a place where time blurs and the rules grow strange. Here, things do not move in straight lines. They blink in and out, like thoughts half remembered, like dreams forgotten by morning. You watch a particle emerge from the vacuum, not placed, but appearing, unexplained and perfect. A moment ago there was only emptiness. Now there is presence, something where there was nothing. But wait, there's more. Beside it, a partner appears, equal but opposite, a twin in reverse, antimatter. If matter is a step forward, antimatter is a soft step back, like the echo of a footstep taken in reverse. They appear together and vanish together, born as one, gone as one. A whisper between existing and not. You watch them spin and spiral, as if unsure whether they should stay or go. They are brief but beautiful, fleeting but filled with story. And perhaps they are not just flickering through space, but through time. There is a theory, gentle and strange, that speaks of particles not disappearing but traveling backward, that what we call antimatter is just matter taking a reverse path through time, that when a particle and its opposite meet and vanish, it is not destruction, it is reunion, one journey going forward, one journey going back, like two parts of you, brushing past each other in a hallway, neither noticing, both moving on. You think of your own life, of moments that feel like they're returning, even though they've never happened before. Déjà vu, memory from nowhere, a touch of recognition. Without a name, what if it's you, greeting yourself from a future not yet lived? In this world of tiny things, time is not as strict as it seems. In your everyday life, time flows like a river, always forward, never back. But at the level of particles, the equations work both ways. The laws of physics don't prefer past or future. They allow both. They are symmetrical, balanced, like dancers who can twirl either direction with equal grace. So why, you wonder, do we only feel the forward pull? Entropy, they say, the arrow of time, the slow unspooling of order into chaos. A cup shatters, but does not reform. A match burns, but cannot unburn. Time moves toward disorder. But particles don't follow this rule so clearly. They flicker, they return, they reverse. Imagine a world where time breathes instead of marches. Inhale, future, exhale, past. There is poetry in the idea that particles could move both ways, that somewhere beneath the fabric of cause and effect, a gentle undoing hums alongside the doing. You picture it now, particles spinning backward through the air you breathe, brushing past atoms in your body, leaving no trace, but rewriting subtle stories. Maybe this is why certain thoughts return. Maybe this is why healing sometimes feels like remembering something you haven't lived yet. Your life, too, might hold hidden loops. Perhaps your future self is not far ahead, but gently beside you, walking in reverse, whispering insights into your present, not as command, but as invitation, not as noise, but as resonance in the quantum world. Cause and effect blur. There is a kind of experiment, simple in shape, profound in meaning, called the delayed choice quantum eraser. It suggests that particles can decide how to behave based on something that happens after they move, as if the future can influence the past, as if the path taken was always waiting to be rewritten. You let this mystery settle into your breath. You do not need to solve it. You only need to feel its shape. Perhaps time is not a line, not even a spiral. Perhaps it is a fabric, gently rippling. Perhaps moments touch each other in ways the eye can't see. Perhaps your life, like light itself, contains many paths. Until one is lived, you begin to feel it, that every moment of your life may still be in play, still connected, still open. Like the particle, you are both here and there, both arriving and returning. When you close your eyes now, you see particles blinking softly around you like fireflies of time. They drift in all directions. Some move outward, some spiral back. You imagine catching one in your hand. It is warm. It hums with choices. Is this a memory? Is it a moment yet to come? Does it matter? The border between what was and what will be is thinner than you thought. You are not only a product of your past, you are also a greeting from your future. A wave curled into a moment, a step both forward and back. And when you dream tonight, you might dream in reverse, not to undo, but to understand, to feel what it means to move gently through a world where nothing is truly lost, where vanishing is only transformation, where even the smallest particle carries a message, and sometimes that message is, you have already been here. You feel comfort in that, a deep, slow calm, like rewinding a lullaby, like remembering a goodbye before it's said. And as your breath settles, you sense that the dance of particles is not over, that the question is not only how they move, but where they come from. What if they arrive from somewhere else entirely? Not just another time, but another version of reality, another universe altogether, gently brushing against our own. You rest quietly now. The world has gone soft around the edges. Your breath, slow and even, your heartbeat, a patient drum. In this stillness, you feel the edges of yourself blur, it disappear, but shift, as if you are both here and part of something much older. You lift your hand in your imagination, palm open, fingers loose. There, in the smallest skin cell, nestled in silence, is an atom. Just one, so tiny it cannot be seen, so ancient it cannot be measured in any ordinary time. This atom is part of you, but it was not always yours. It was once part of a star. Before that, it may have drifted through clouds of gas long before Earth had formed. Perhaps it swirled in a collapsing nebula, danced through the heart of a sun, and rode the winds of a dying star as it scattered itself back into the galaxy. And then, over time, it became water, or wind, or stone, a piece of tree bark, a drop of rain, a thread of breath. This atom in your fingertip has forgotten none of that. It carries those journeys, folded like memories, in the quiet of its motion. You are made of countless such atoms, billions upon billions of tiny, dreaming travelers. And each one has been somewhere else. Your body, this momentary constellation, is not fixed. It is a dance of particles gathered, borrowed, passing through. You are not a structure, you are a song, a pattern held for a moment, then released. Close your eyes. Imagine yourself not as solid, but shimmering. Imagine each cell of your body, breathing atoms, arriving and departing. What you call your skin, your heart, your eyes, they are events, they are gatherings, they are shared space. You are a meeting place of histories. Some of the atoms in your bones once circled ancient volcanoes. Some lived in the breath of whales, the feathers of birds, the blood of kings. Some may have been part of ice crystals on distant comets. Some may have never touched a planet until now. Every night, as you sleep, they continue their journey, repairing, rebuilding, whispering to one another through bonds and breaks. Your dreaming is not only in your mind, it is also in your matter. You, like every living thing, are made from stardust, not poetically, not figuratively, literally. The hydrogen in your breath, the simplest, oldest element, was born in the first few minutes after the Big Bang. The calcium in your teeth was forged in the belly of a star. The iron in your blood came from a supernova. Final, explosive breath of a dying sun. The gold in your ring that required the collision of two neutron stars, violent, magnificent, and rare. Every precious thing has a story that begins in cosmic fire, but it does not end there, because atoms do not die. They only change companions. You are not their owner. And so, even as you lie still, you are not still. Your body is a tide pool of motion. Within you, atoms are rearranging, replacing, passing through. Right now, with each breath, you are exhaling particles that were once deep inside your bones. With each inhale, you take in atoms exhaled by trees, birds, strangers, oceans. You are never alone. You are constantly exchanging pieces of yourself with the world. You are porous, like a net woven of wind and thought. You are a doorway. Tonight, that thought does not trouble you, it soothes you, because it means that nothing is truly lost. The people you've loved, who are gone now. Some of the atoms that once formed their voices, their laughter, their touch, they're still here. Not in spirit, perhaps, but in air, in soil, in rivers, in you. The universe is very good at recycling. What it loves, it does not throw away. They circle back, they return, they remember. This is what it means to be alive in a cosmic sense, to be temporary, but not unimportant, to be passing, but not passed over, to carry forward what came before, and to give forward what will come next. The hand you imagine holding out in the dark, it is made of stories older than stories. It touches the present, but it's also touching the past. And so when you fall asleep tonight, you fall into a memory not your own. Atoms that listened to birdsong 1,000 years ago. Atoms that will one day bloom as petals, or become fire, or dance in another sky. Your dreams tonight may carry not just your thoughts, but the echoes of all the matter you are made from. Not ghosts, not spirits, just the gentle hum of continuity. The rhythm of things passing through, changing shape, becoming you. You are never the first to hold any part of yourself. And you will not be the last. Tonight. You lie still, but your body hums with heritage. The dreaming atoms remember what you do not, and that is enough. And as you drift, you begin to wonder. If these atoms remember so much, if they carry the past like stars carry light, Could they also be touching something beyond this world? What if their journey does not stop at Earth? What if they are doorways to something else entirely? To some place parallel, mirrored, layered atop this one? Could there be other versions of you, built from similar stardust, dreaming in other directions? You rest within stillness now. Not the stillness of nothingness, but the stillness of gentle motion. Like the hush that follows a long sigh, you inhale softly, and somewhere, far beyond what eyes can see or thoughts can hold, the universe, exhales, it does not tick like a clock. There are no gears behind the stars, no pendulum swinging in the void. Time, at its most fundamental, moves more like breath. Inhale, exhale, stretch, fold. You imagine the cosmos as a chest rising, galaxies drifting apart as if drawn on a balloon being filled. The spaces between things growing wider, cooler, softer. This is what physicists call expansion, but to you, it feels like breathing. At the very beginning, time surged forward, a brilliant, burning gasp. Everything raced away from everything else, and the universe began to stretch. You think of how lungs behave. The pause after a deep breath in, the stillness before the slow release. Could time do the same? Could it slow, stop, and turn? Some scientists call it the Big Bounce, a possibility where the expansion of everything might someday slow, then reverse. Galaxies drawn back together, stars collapsing inward, everything folding once more into a single, quiet exhale. Not a death, not an end, no direction, no edge, only the gentle pull of something unseen. The expansion that carried all things outward has paused. Now it begins to return. A breath. Moving in, you close your eyes and let the thought surround you. The universe does not move in a straight line. It curves, like waves, like music. What we call now is not the same everywhere. Clocks on mountaintops run faster than clocks at sea. Clocks on satellites tick differently than the ones in your hand. Time bends, stretches, and slows, like a ribbon pulled through invisible hands. And if time can bend, can it also breathe? You lie quietly and listen to your own breath. Inhale, exhale, in this rhythm. You find the universe echoed in yourself. Some theorists suggest the universe will keep expanding forever, becoming colder, quieter, darker. A thin breath, stretched so wide, not repeated exactly, but reimagined by the same matter, the same rules, the same patient breath. Perhaps your atoms will drift once more into stars. Perhaps your thoughts, like distant radio waves, will ripple through space long after you're gone, and in some far-off time settle into a mind like yours, dreaming, wondering, breathing. You are part of this great inhale, born in the outbreath of the Big Bang, alive in the moment where time feels full, where everything still stretches outward. But someday, if the breath reverses, you will be part of that too, folding inward, returning, not vanishing, just changing direction. This is not cause for fear. You are the motion of time. You are one breath in the lungs of everything, and if the universe breathes, so do its questions. Is time a circle, a spiral, a river, a tide? You float in all these metaphors, letting each one rock you softly, without needing to decide. Maybe time is not something outside of you. Maybe it is inside you, too, in the heartbeat, the blink, the fading memory. Not even time, and just as one breath, ends, another begins. The future opens its eyes slowly, and you begin to wonder what dreams lie waiting in the next breath of the cosmos. You drift now toward something ancient, not a place, but a pull, not a void, but a boundary, not death, but a deep folding of the universe's own breath. Before you, darkness curves, not black as in empty, but black as in full, so full of gravity that even light has no escape. This is no absence, this is presence, concentrated, a black hole. You hover at its edge, where light shivers and time bends. This edge has a name, the event horizon. You cannot see past it, no one can. Not because there's nothing inside, but because the inside is where the rules of space and time cease to behave in ways we know. It's not just a fall, it's a transformation. Imagine a sheet stretched taut. Now place a marble on it. The fabric dips. Other marbles roll toward it. This is gravity, simplified. But black holes are not simple. They do not just dent the fabric, they pierce it. You float, safe for now, just outside this piercing point. Your time slows here. Relative to the stars, farther out, your seconds stretch longer, thinner. To an outside observer, you appear to freeze in place, forever paused at the edge. But to you, time flows on, smooth and quiet. This boundary, the event horizon, holds stories, stars swallowed, light trapped, but also possibilities. Mathematically, black holes may not be ends, but tunnels. Einstein's equations permit it. They say, maybe. Some scientists dream of wormholes, passageways through spacetime, stitched by the dense core of a black hole. A loop that bends, not just time, but space. Step in one side, emerge somewhere else, perhaps even somewhen else. You imagine stepping through. What would it feel like to leave this universe and enter another? Would there be stars, like here? Would there be you? Or would you be remade, your particles, unspooled and rewoven, carried like whispers on gravity's breath? Yet not all theories point forward. Some suggest black holes are mirrors, not gateways to somewhere else, but reflections of everything that fell in. Information, they say, cannot be destroyed. It may become scrambled, warped, unreadable, but somewhere, somehow, it still exists. Perhaps it clings to the edge, encoded in a thin film at the event horizon, like memory etched into light. You picture it now. Each flicker recorded like a photograph held in place by gravity itself. In this view, black holes are not erasers, but archivists. Their darkness hides not loss, but deep memory. Time inside folds back on itself, like a ribbon twisted until both ends meet. A loop, not linear, but recursive, endless. You wouldn't fall to a center, you would fall through a pattern, maybe, forever. And what would you find in that loop? But others believe singularities are not the end, only signs that we do not yet understand the language of gravity fully. Maybe the center is not a point, but a path. You feel it, a slow gravity pulling not just your body, but your thoughts, drawing you inward, not to. Perhaps it is where the loop tightens so sharply, the thread of space touches itself and begins again. You imagine falling in, not all at once, but like sleep. First a feeling, then a forgetting, then a new dream. What would you become inside that folded space? Would you dissolve or transform? They wait, and in their waiting, they shape galaxies. Their gravity carves the orbits of billions of stars, where silence becomes structure, and at their edge is where you now float. You feel the calm of inevitability. One more breath, and then perhaps the question is not what lies inside, but what lies beyond the loop. You lie still, eyes closed, as the world softens around you, breath in, breath out. You imagine time as you've always been told it is, a river, moving forward, carrying you from one moment to the next. Yesterday upstream, tomorrow downstream, you floating on the current, unable to turn around. But tonight, let's loosen that image. Let it melt a little. Let's step away from the rush and into stillness. Physics, gentle, strange, deeply honest, has something else to say. It tells us the rules that govern the universe don't care which direction time flows. Whether you run the equations forward or backward, they still work. They don't whisper now. They don't shout then. They are timeless laws. In fact, at the smallest levels where particles spin and flicker, there is no preferred direction. No arrow pointing forward, only change, only possibility. So what, then, makes time feel like it moves? Why do you remember yesterday, but not tomorrow? Memory. Memory is what gives time direction, not the universe. A cup falls, shatters, and you remember it whole. You remember the sound, the scatter, the before. Shards gather, cup lifts, sound unstrikes, just as possible, just as valid. But your memory does not reverse, it builds, layer upon layer. Each moment stored becomes the past, and what isn't stored becomes the future. So you begin to see time isn't just the ticking of clocks or the orbit of moons. Here, there is no gravity to pull you forward, no current to push, but slowly that need dissolves. The need to label past fades like mist evaporating under starlight. Here, time does not pass. It pools. It gathers in concentric ripples, not from events, but from awareness itself. You are not moving through time. You are resting in it. Even your thoughts begin to lose their sense of order. Not confusion, just openness. They don't march. They swirl. Ideas arrive not in straight lines, but like leaves settling on water. And this isn't fantasy. Physicists call it time symmetry. It's woven into the equations of motion, the dance of particles. The fundamental rules allow time to move either way, but your biology does not. Your cells remember. The arrow of time emerges not from the stars, but from the way matter arranges itself into memory. Entropy, often called the measure of disorder, rises as time moves. From ice melting to stars cooling, from living to dying, from simple beginnings to complex endings. But what is disorder? It's a name we give to things we can no longer predict. About memory. A way of saying, I can't go back because I no longer know how. You, right now, are held together by memory, by the past, not as something real and waiting behind you. It would just be you float again in the still ocean. No waves, just the endless mirrored surface of a moment that does not pass. And something stirs in you, not panic, but wonder, because if time can exist without direction, if the universe allows backward and forward equally, maybe everything is here already. The whole timeline, past, present, future, not stretched like a line, but folded like a handkerchief. All points touching, all nows existing at once. Your story, then, is not a single thread through time, but a pattern in the cloth. Some physicists call this the block universe. Time is not a flow, but a shape. You do not travel through it. You are part of it always, and memory. Memory is the flashlight you shine on one part of the fabric, illuminating what you call the past, waiting to shine on what you'll call the future. You smile softly now, because even if time is all one, even if direction is illusion, the experience of it still matters. Your dreams still have shape. Your life still unfolds in gentle turns. And your memory, your beautiful, limited memory, gives meaning to it all. You exhale, long and slow. No need to hold the moment. It holds you. Let go of the timeline. Let go of direction. Rest in the now that isn't moving, but surrounding. You are not lost in time. You are home in it, and somewhere beyond the quiet stillness, stars blink softly, scattered like thoughts across a quiet mind. Somewhere, far away, a particle moves, and another, light years apart, responds instantly. You've never seen this happen, not with your eyes, but science tells you it does. This is quantum entanglement, a connection beyond understanding. Two particles created together, touched once, and then, no matter how far apart they drift, they remain in conversation. A twist here, a spin there, and the other knows. It's as if they never separated, as if the space between them doesn't really exist. Close your eyes. Feel the spaciousness of everything. Not emptiness, but a kind of listening. A stillness that waits, that hears, that holds. Entanglement isn't a message sent. It's a resonance shared. A song hummed in two places at once. And you wonder, could you be like that too? Could parts of you, your thoughts, your memories, your moments, be entangled across time? Loops of before and after. What if an earlier you and a future you are quietly nodding to each other, responding to the same inner ripple? In the quantum world, time doesn't behave the way we expect. It isn't a strict chain of cause and effect. Sometimes it's like a spiral. Sometimes it folds. An entanglement doesn't care about clocks. It doesn't wait. It simply is. Imagine two particles born in the heart of a star. They spin into existence, bound together. Then, flung by the violence of that birth, they drift into opposite corners of the galaxy. One hides in a comet, and across the cold, dark gulf, something else far beyond your knowing shivers in response. They are entangled, still. And this isn't just poetry. It's experiment. Physicists have tested entanglement. They've measured the spins, the polarization. They've found the link over and over. Even Einstein called it spooky action at a distance. Not just with other people, but with atoms, with stars, with days long gone. A thought arrives, gentle and unannounced. A memory, a scent, a feeling. And maybe, just maybe, it's an echo of something touched long ago, or something not yet arrived. Because entanglement doesn't move forward or back, it just moves. Or perhaps it doesn't move at all. Perhaps it simply stays connected. No wire, no signal, just knowing. And what if this knowing isn't limited to particles? What if the mind, which itself is made of quantum ingredients, carries entanglement to a shared silence between people, a moment of recognition without words, a dream that feels like someone else was dreaming it with you? You are not separate. Even when you feel alone, you may be joined in ways that light itself cannot outrun. And when you sleep, when the noise quiets and the world folds inward, these connections shimmer a little brighter, because entanglement needs no eyes, no effort, only existence. Tonight, let your breath be slow and your thoughts unhurried. Let the web of your being stretch gently outward, not reaching, just resting in what already is. You are not alone. You are a strand in a larger pattern, a thread woven with others through space and time. Some you've met, some you never will, but the thread holds. You are part of the cosmos. Deep conversation, one that doesn't use language, but symmetry. To exist is to be in relationship, a connection that can stretch across galaxies, or perhaps across dreams. And if you ever wonder where your thoughts begin, if you ever feel a sudden knowing, or a comfort that arrives without source, perhaps it's the touch of a distant particle entangled with you since the beginning. Perhaps you are responding to something that has always been with you, or maybe you are the one reaching back, a ripple across the loop. And in the space between that thought and this breath, a new mystery begins to flicker, not about what connects, but about what dreams across these threads. You lie beneath a dark sky, the stars stretched like silver threads across velvet, still, vast, endless, but you are not looking into emptiness. You are looking into time, some millions, some so old it began before Earth had oceans. The further out you gaze, the further back you fall, not in space, but in time. A cosmic rewind, soft and glowing. And so the sky becomes a mirror, not of your face, but of your origin. A reflection not of the now, but of all the befores that shaped you. But what if that reflection doesn't just show the past? What if it also hints at something else, something reversed, inverted, a world that runs not parallel, but mirrored? In physics, this is not just a bedtime fancy. Some cosmologists have wondered, what if our universe is not alone? What if it is paired like two palms pressed together with another that is its mirror, not beside us, but behind time itself, a mirror universe, not in another dimension, but another direction. In some models of the cosmos, our universe is only half the equation. The Big Bang did not begin everything. It split to equal opposite. Realities emerged, one this one you live in now, where time flows forward, where entropy rises, where cause leads to effect, but the other. Time flows backward, entropy rewinds, eggs unbreak, ashes leap into flame, crystals unmelt, stars undash burn. Imagine that, a universe where moments move in the opposite direction, where memory lies in the future and destiny is the past. This is not fantasy, it is theory, still debated, still unfolding, but it stirs something in you. Not just curiosity, recognition, because haven't you sometimes felt it, a pull from behind, a memory that hasn't happened yet, a dream that feels like a return? The mirror universe might not be elsewhere. It might be touching this one edge, to edge, breath to breath, invisible but not absent, a backward twin, not of you, but of everything, a world that unravels as yours knots, that exhales as yours inhales, that thinks you into being even as you think it into question. And if this mirror cosmos exists, then maybe somewhere there is a reflection of you, not reversed in space, but in time, What would that mean? You moving forward, they moving back, meeting at the middle. If they began where you began, but walk toward what you left behind, could you meet again? Could the loop close? Could your end be their beginning? Could endings and beginnings be the same event, seen from different sides? These are not answers, but questions physics dares to ask, and you, quiet now, beneath the hum of stars, are allowed to wonder with it, because the sky does not rush. It reflects, it remembers, it watches you watching it. And so the idea grows that maybe this universe is not one, but two intertwined reflections, each giving meaning to the other, one progressing, one regressing. Together, balance. In your world, time feels like a current. You move with it. You age, you forget, you long. But in the mirror, someone is unaging, unforgetting, returning, letting go. Maybe they are you, maybe not. But either way, their existence would make this one whole, a symmetrical reality, a breath in and a breath out. Time as a wave echoes backward and forward through the fold between these twin realms. So when you stare into the sky, when a star's flicker stirs something you can't name, perhaps it is your reflection blinking back, not in a mirror of glass, but in a mirror of law, of symmetry, of time's mysterious depth. And if they are out there, your opposite, your twin, they do not need to speak. Their existence is already a conversation, a presence that answers you, not in words, but in silence that feels full. Tonight, your breath syncs with the wider rhythm. You exhale. Somewhere, something inhales. You sleep. Something else awakens. And as you drift, you wonder not where the mirror leads, but what it might reflect next. If reflections, too, can dream. You close your eyes, and already the world begins to fade. Not disappears, soften, edges blur, time quiets. The hum of now becomes a whisper, and from that silence, memory rises. You don't choose it, it chooses you, a scent from long ago. The shadow of a familiar voice, the weight no longer exists. You drift through these echoes, as if the past still waits patiently in the folds of your mind. But what is memory, really? Science offers answers. It's chemical, it's electrical. It's neural pathways traced and retraced, like grooves worn into stone by years of soft rain. But even science does not fully understand memory's shape. Not yet, not truly, because memory, too, is a mystery. You remember the past, but not the future. Why? It seems obvious. The past has happened. The future has not. But the universe may not see it that way. In the laws that govern motion, matter, and light, there is often no preferred direction of time. Many of physics' equations work the same forward and backward. They do not favor past over future. So why do you? Some physicists whisper, perhaps memory is not a window into truth, but a habit of perception. Maybe you remember only one direction because your biology flows that way, because entropy, the arrow of disorder, increases forward. You are a system, swimming downstream. But that doesn't mean the stream doesn't loop. Imagine time as a circle, not a line, but a loop, a ring of fireflies blinking through space. No beginning, no end. What would memory feel like then? What if, as you travel through this loop, you leave behind traces, not just in the past, but in the future as well? And what if those traces could echo back? What if the mind, in its quietest moments, catches glimmers of what hasn't happened yet, because in a looped universe, it already has. You may have felt it before, a dream that unfolds in real life, a decision that feels already made, a place you've never been that feels like home. Science calls these feelings déjà vu. Your neurons, they say, misfire. A signal a moment is falsely familiar. But what if the feeling isn't false? What if it's just early, just a memory on the other side of the loop? In your dreams, time bends. You leap between decades. You revisit the gone. You touch the never was. Dreams do not honor chronology. They speak in symbols, in folds, in spirals, and maybe they remember something deeper, something beneath the surface of your waking thoughts. Maybe dreams are the brain's way of exploring the loop in both directions, past and future, braided together. And if time is a loop, you are never fully separate from any part of it. Your childhood is not behind you. It is simply elsewhere on the curve. So is your last breath. So is your next love. And in that loop, memory and possibility touch. What you recall and what you have yet to imagine, they meet, they trade places, they blur. You are not a point moving along time. You are a thread woven into it, and in some theories, quantum ones, strange ones, bold ones, there is the idea that information cannot be lost. No memory is ever truly erased. It lingers, it echoes. Some physicists argue that even in the blackest of holes, even at the edge of space-time itself, memory persists, not in words, not in images, but in the structure of things, like a shadow cast without light. So maybe memory doesn't live only in your brain. Maybe the universe itself remembers. Every movement, every breath, every star that blinked and burned. And maybe you, lying here now, breathing slowly, eyes closed, are part of that memory, a thought the universe once had and still carries. When you remember something, you collapse it. You bring it into being again. So what happens when you forget? Is the moment lost? Or does it just drift, waiting to be remembered again? Perhaps not by you, but by another. Memory may not be a vault. It may be a wave, traveling through time, looping and returning, forever humming beneath the skin of space. Tonight, as you rest, you do not need to remember. You can let memory move without grasping, like a feather on a current, like a whisper moving through glass, like a dream arriving from both directions at once. You drift now, not forward, not back, but inward, toward a place where memory is not bound by logic, where possibility feels familiar, where the unknown becomes tender, and just as you slip toward sleep, you feel something, not a thought, not a picture, just a soft recognition, as if something from your future has already missed you and is calling you gently home. Last lines transition, and if memory can loop, what else might loop with it? Perhaps emotion, perhaps consciousness, perhaps even the very shape of thought itself. You lie quietly now. The breath moves in, the breath moves out, soft, circular, ancient. You've done this before countless times. Inhale, a beginning. Exhale, a return. It feels simple, but it holds a truth deeper than breath itself. Because what breath does, you do. You rise, you fall, you come into being, you dissolve, you forget, you remember, you change shape, and slowly wove into new forms, planets, oceans, seeds, you. And when you breathe, you breathe what they left behind. Every breath you take holds atoms that once cycled through ancient forests, that passed through whales in deep oceans, that circled Saturn in frozen rings. The oxygen you just pulled into your lungs may have been part of Cleopatra's breath, or the wing of a moth, or the mist over a mountain lake 10,000 years ago. There is no beginning point to you, only movement, only motion, only flow, and flow returns. You eat, your body changes. The molecules that were once you become something else, part of the soil, the air, another being entirely. The body is not a container, it's a passage, and even your thoughts, even your mind, may be more loop than line. You think a thought, it stirs emotion. The emotion shapes memory. The memory triggers another thought, around and around. A spiral of being. You are not only part of the loop, you are the loop itself. There is no true edge between you and everything else. Your skin feels like a border, but it breathes, it exchanges, it opens, it lets the world in. Every 7 years or so, almost every atom in your body is replaced. Yet you feel continuous. Because what you are is not static matter. You are a pattern, a soft loop of instructions, energy, awareness, and memory, repeating, evolving, breathing. This loop is older than your name, older than your face. It existed before you were born, and it will continue long after. Not you in this form, but you in essence, you as story. You as stardust. And doesn't that shift something inside you? The idea that you are not a fixed thing, but a rhythm within the cosmos, like the tides, like the moon's phases, like the pulse of galaxies turning unseen. Even your sleep follows the loop. A rhythm of waking and resting, of dreams rising and fading. Night into day into night again, and sleep itself may be a remembering of who you are beneath the thoughts, of who you've always been, part of the cycle, part of the breath, close. Your eyes now, feel it again, inhale, return, exhale, release. Nothing is wasted, not your laughter, not your sorrow, not your dreams. All of it becomes part of something else. Like water changing forms, vapor to rain, to river, to sea, to sky again. This is what nature does. This is what the universe does. And this is what you do. You may think of your life as a single journey, but what if it's more like a looped path through a forest, crossing itself again and again in unexpected ways? What if you meet yourself again in another form, another place, another turn along the path? And what if every encounter, every connection, every goodbye is just part of this great return? There is something peaceful in that thought, something quiet, something kind, because if you are the loop, then nothing in you is lost, not the moments you wish you could relive, not the versions of yourself you thought you'd outgrown, not the people you've loved. They remain folded gently into the pattern, woven into the rhythm, kept in the breath. When your atoms find new homes, you do not end, you transform, like a melody dissolving into silence, only to rise again, in a new key, like a candle extinguished, while another catches the flame. And so you can rest, truly rest, not because everything is certain, but because everything is part of the same circle. You are made of stars, but also of rhythm. You are born of gravity, but also of grace. You are not simply in the universe, you are the universe, looping gently through itself. So tonight, As you drift, feel yourself soften. Let your edges blur. You do not need to hold yourself up. You are already held. You do not need to know the ending. It has already begun again. You breathe in. The stars breathe with you. You breathe out. The trees respond. You close your eyes. And the loop continues, soft and endless and kind. And if everything loops, your atoms, your breath, your thoughts, what then is the still point within it, the silent center around which the loop turns?